When you look hot, feel hot, and are hot.
There's nothing like ice-cold Coca-Cola.
There's nothing like a Coca-Cola, nothing.
Americans drink 12 billion gallons of soda every year, but few realize what they're actually sipping on. That refreshing cola in your fridge was once prescribed for headaches, sold to children as a health tonic, and eventually became a weapon in the Cold War. But how did carbonated sugar water transform from a dangerous pharmacy mix into a global empire that changed the color of Christmas and once commanded its own navy? To understand it, we need to travel back to when it all began. It's the mid-1800s in America, and pharmacies across the country are becoming social hotspots. The reason? Carbonated drinks are being served at their soda fountains. These weren't the sodas we know today. They were mixtures of carbonated water and medicinal syrups that pharmacists claimed could cure almost anything. The ingredients in these early sodas would shock us today. Cocaine from cocoa leaves, lithium salts, cannabis extracts, alcohol, lead compounds, even small amounts of strychnine, rat poison. What's crazy is that these weren't secret ingredients. Instead, they were proudly listed on labels and in advertisements as medical benefits. And from these pharmacy blends, America's biggest soda brands were born. In 1885, pharmacist Charles Alderton created Dr. Pepper in Waco, Texas, originally calling it Brain Tonic. 1 year later, Atlanta pharmacist John Pemberton created Coca-Cola, containing both coca leaf extract and cola nuts for caffeine. He marked it as a cure for headaches and morphine addiction. Ironically, Pemberton himself was fighting a morphine addiction after being wounded in the Civil War. As cola drinks became more popular, copycats started popping up everywhere. There were over 50 different brands with cola in their name, trying to cash in on the craze. Drugstores across America created their own local versions with names like Wise-Ola, Roca-Ola, and Coke-Ola. Most of these early competitors didn't survive, but a few hung on and became serious rivals. In 1893, pharmacist Caleb Bradham developed his own version called Brad's Drink, later renamed Pepsi-Cola after the digestive enzyme called pepsin and cola nuts. He claimed it helped digestion and boosted energy. But as these campaigns grew, they faced a big problem that would force them to completely change their products. By 1900, public awareness of cocaine's addictive properties was growing. Newspapers published sensationalized stories about cocaine fiends and addictions spreading through society. Facing growing pressure, Coca-Cola quietly removed cocaine from its formula in 1903, though they never announced the change. They simply started using spent cocoa leaves with the cocaine already extracted. Then, in 1920, something unexpected happened that would change the trajectory of soda forever. As alcohol became illegal, Americans turned to soda fountains as social spaces. These companies quickly shifted their marketing from medical benefits to refreshment and enjoyment. And that's when the marketing revolution began. By 1925, Coca-Cola was spending over $100 million in today's money in advertising alone, an astronomical amount for the time. Coca-Cola pioneered consistent brand identity, using the same logo, color scheme, and distinctive bottle shape to make its product instantly recognizable worldwide. But their most ingenious marketing creation was yet to come, one that would forever change how we celebrate Christmas.
And the overinflated stock market plunges into a Great Depression.
As the Great Depression devastated America in the 1930s, most companies slashed advertising budgets as a survival strategy. Not Coca-Cola. They had a big problem to fix. They were doing great as a summer refreshing drink, but their sales dropped dramatically during the cold winter months. The company needed to find a way to make people want to drink cold sodas even when it was freezing outside. Their brilliant solution was to create a winter marketing campaign so powerful it would change how Americans thought about the holidays. While competitors retreated, Coca-Cola doubled down, maintaining cheerful advertising that offered an emotional escape from hard times. Coca-Cola's advertising team realized that if they could connect their brand with Christmas joy, they could turn their product into a year-round beverage. And to do this, they would use Santa Claus as their secret weapon. Prior to the 1930s, Santa Claus had no standardized appearance. He was depicted as tall and thin, sometimes as an elf wearing green, blue, or brown. In 1931, Coca-Cola commissioned artist Haddon Sundblom to create holiday advertisements featuring Santa. His illustration would unknowingly change Christmas forever. Sundblom's Santa, plump, jolly, with rosy cheeks and a red trim suit with white fur, appeared in Coca-Cola ads for the next 33 years, permanently cementing our modern image of Santa Claus. Today, we can't imagine Santa any other way. But his iconic red suit, a perfect match for Coca-Cola's brand colors, represents one of the most successful corporate rebrands of a cultural figure in history. But an even more ambitious marketing strategy was coming. As a dangerous leader was rising in power in Germany, the world was heading towards its biggest conflict ever. One where soda companies would find opportunity in the chaos of war.
1941, a state of war has existed between the United States and the Japanese Empire.
It's 1941. America just entered World War II, and Coca-Cola's president, Robert Woodruff, makes an extraordinary promise. Every man in uniform gets a bottle of Coca-Cola for 5 cents, wherever he is and whatever it costs the company. This wasn't just for patriotism. It was the most brilliant global expansion strategy in business history. To fulfill this promise, Coca-Cola built 64 bottling plants in territories as Allied forces advanced. The US military even classified Coca-Cola as essential to war morale, exempting it from sugar rationing and providing government funding for these overseas operations. Wherever American troops went, Coca-Cola followed, introducing the product to millions of people across Europe, Africa, and Asia who had never tasted it before. But on the other side of the conflict, a different soda story was unfolding. When Hitler invaded countries where Coca-Cola had operations, the American company couldn't supply its German bottling plants with the syrup needed to make Coca-Cola. The head of Coca-Cola's German operations, Max Keith, was stuck. He couldn't get the special syrup because of trade embargoes, but he needed to keep his factory running. His solution was to create a new drink using only ingredients available in Nazi Germany: apple fiber leftover from cider presses and whey, a cheese-making byproduct. The result was a light-colored sweetened soda they named Fanta, from the German word fantasy, meaning imagination. While Americans drank Coca-Cola as they fought against Nazism, German civilians were drinking Fanta, created specifically because of the war. After the war ended, Coca-Cola simply reclaimed its German operations and took ownership of the Fanta brand, turning a Nazi-era necessity into another global product in their lineup. After the war, these military-established bottling plants became the foundation for Coca-Cola's worldwide distribution network. Millions of American soldiers returned home with Coca-Cola habits, while millions had their first taste of American consumer culture. But as one global conflict ended, a new enemy emerged from the East. The Soviet Union, once an ally against Hitler, now stood against America with its own vision for the world. And in this new upcoming war, soda would become an unexpected weapon.
An iron curtain has descended across the continent.
Will face these responsibilities squarely.
To ignore the facts of history and the aggressive impulses of an evil.
As tensions between the United States and Soviet Union intensified in the 1950s, Coca-Cola evolved into something more than a beverage. It became a symbol of American capitalism and freedom. The Soviet Union mocked Coca-Cola as capitalist dishwater and a tool of American imperialism. The term Coca-Cola colonization emerged to describe the spread of American consumer culture. In 1959, during the famous kitchen debate, Vice President Nixon deliberately showcased Coca-Cola to Soviet Premier Khrushchev as evidence of capitalism's superiority. But behind this Cold War divide lurked a fascinating secret. Soviet Marshal Georgy Zhukov, the commanding general who led the Red Army to victory over Nazi Germany, secretly developed a taste for Coca-Cola after being introduced to it by General Eisenhower. This created a problem. A Soviet war hero couldn't be seen drinking the ultimate symbol of American capitalism. The solution? Coca-Cola created a special colorless version in a straight vodka-style bottle with a red star on the cap, so Zhukov could enjoy it without political repercussions. While Coca-Cola dominated most of the world, Pepsi saw an opportunity in the Soviet hostility. So in 1959, at the American National Exhibition in Moscow, Pepsi arranged for Soviet Premier Khrushchev to try their product. This was a marketing coup that eventually led to Pepsi becoming the first Western consumer product sold in the USSR. This seemingly small victory would later lead to one of the strangest business deals in history. By the 1970s, the competition between Coca-Cola and Pepsi had escalated into what marketers called the Cola Wars, an intense battle for market dominance. Pepsi launched the Pepsi Challenge, a blind test showing more people favored Pepsi taste over Coca-Cola. These campaigns were effective, cutting deeply into Coca-Cola's market share. 15 years later, Coca-Cola made a decision that shocked the world. In April 1985, after 99 years with the same secret formula, Coca-Cola changed their flagship product and introduced New Coke. The public reaction was immediate. Consumers hoarded cases of the original formula, protest groups formed, The company received over 400,000 angry letters and phone calls. Just 79 days later, the company reintroduced the original formula as Coca-Cola Classic, effectively admitting defeat. And yet, mysteriously, by the end of 1985, sales had surged and the company had regained market leadership. Some conspiracy theorists suggest the entire New Coke fiasco was a brilliant marketing ploy to reinvigorate the brand, a claim Coca-Cola executives have consistently denied. But as if the cola wars weren't intense enough on Earth, in late 1985, the battlefield expanded to the final frontier, outer space. When NASA planned to test carbonated drinks aboard the Space Shuttle Challenger mission, STS-51F, Coca-Cola initially secured an exclusive deal to send their product to space. When Pepsi learned about this arrangement, they pushed intensely, reportedly reaching as high as White House contacts to ensure they weren't left behind in this unique promotional opportunity. Both companies invested hundreds of thousands of dollars developing special zero-gravity containers. Coca-Cola created a sophisticated fluid dispenser, while Pepsi modified a shaving cream can for their drink. 4 cans of each beverage were loaded onto the shuttle, and the mission crew conducted taste tests, with the day shift trying Coke and the night shift sampling Pepsi. One astronaut, John David Bartow, refused to participate, considering the experiment frivolous and detracting from the science of the mission, even though the astronauts didn't like either drink, thinking both tasted bad when warm. Both companies still said they won. Pepsi ran extensive marketing, claiming their product was one giant sip for mankind. But while these companies were fighting battles in space, an even stranger cola episode was brewing on Earth. One that would see the soda company briefly command its own fleet of military vessels. It's 1989. The Soviet Union is collapsing, and their economy is in ruins. Pepsi had been selling products in the USSR since 1972, but faced a unique problem. Soviet currency had no value outside the communist bloc. Instead, Pepsi operated through barter, trading soda for Stolichnaya vodka, which they then sold in Western markets. But by 1989, even this arrangement was failing as the Soviet economy crumbled. That's when the Soviets made an offer that sounds too bizarre to be true. Unable to pay in rubles or vodka, they offered PepsiCo something unprecedented: a fleet of naval ships. In one of the most extraordinary business deals in history, Pepsi-Cola acquired 17 submarines, a cruiser, a frigate, and a destroyer from the Soviet Union, briefly making Pepsi the owner of the world's 6th largest naval fleet. PepsiCo CEO Donald Kindle famously said to President Bush's national security advisor, "I'm disarming the Soviet Union faster than you are." The vessels were immediately sold to a Norwegian company for scrap metal. But the story remains one of the strangest chapters in corporate history. A soda company briefly commanding military firepower. While Pepsi was dealing with submarines, something was brewing in East Germany that would change the cola landscape forever. People living behind an iron curtain were growing impatient, and when tensions finally broke, a simple soft drink became a surprising symbol of freedom.
We have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order.
As the Berlin Wall fell in 1989, East Germans provocatively drank Coca-Cola as a symbol of rejecting communism. The symbolic power of these brands had become undeniable. But behind this global domination lies another secret. The drinks you're consuming aren't the same around the world. Despite Coca-Cola and Pepsi maintaining that their core formulas remain consistent worldwide, significant variations exist across different countries. The most notable differences is in sweeteners. American versions typically use high fructose corn syrup, while many other countries use cane sugar or other sweeteners. This has led to phenomena like Mexican Coca-Cola developing a cult following in the United States, with consumers paying premium prices for what they considered a superior, more authentic taste. Also, local water supplies vary significantly in mineral content and filtration processes, affecting the final taste. Both companies operate through local bottling franchises that mix the base concentrate according to specifications that vary subtly by region. For example, reducing sugar content by approximately 15% in the Russian market, where consumers found the original formula too sweet. These variations aren't accidental. They represent sophisticated market research and cultural profiling. It showcases how even standardized global products face significant localization. But as soda conquered the world, its image transformed from health tonic to health disaster.
And in fact, these sugary sodas are the single largest source of calories in the American diet.
As scientific research advanced in the late 20th century, soda's reputation shifted dramatically. The overconsumption of sugar-sweetened beverages has been linked to obesity, hypertension, type 2 diabetes, and dental problems. Americans doubled their consumption of sweetened beverages from 1977 to 2002, paralleling the doubling prevalence of obesity. The average American now consumes about 45 gallons of soda annually. But there's a strange fact about all this. In 2016, a study revealed that Coca-Cola and PepsiCo founded 96 national health organizations between 2011 and 2015, all while simultaneously fighting against 29 public health bills designed to reduce soda consumption. The environmental footprint is equally concerning. It takes about 15 liters of water to produce 1 liter of soda. Major beverage companies are among the world's largest plastic polluters, with billions of bottles ending up in oceans and landfills annually. Marketing practices targeting children have drawn particular criticism as well. Studies show that children exposed to soda advertisements consume more sugary drinks and have higher rates of obesity. Cities across America have begun implementing soda taxes to combat consumption, while schools have removed soda vending machines. As health consciousness grows and environmental concerns increase, the soda industry faces unprecedented challenges. Yet these companies continue to adapt, developing new products and marketing strategies to maintain their place in our lives. But soda isn't the only beverage that shaped human history through addictive substances. Coffee beans transformed global politics and powered entire civilizations on an even bigger scale. Click on this video to see how coffee became the #1 consumed drug of all time.